Hello there. Thank you for joining us on Go Far Girl. Today's guest is Amrita Rose. She's an award winning author, public speaker, and a certified holistic life and career coach. At 60 years old, she sold nearly everything she owned to set out on a bold solo journey and rediscover herself after facing burnout. She's no stranger to transformation, having navigated multiple career shifts, living across 3 countries, and she's written a self help book that encourages people to ditch the status quo and embrace the life of meaning. In today's episode, she's going to share the raw truth of what it means to start over, the unexpected lessons she's learned, and how travel helped her tap into courage she didn't even know she had. So, Amrita, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Oh, Chantal, it's so good to be here. I'm so excited.
Oh, as I'm reading through your bio, I'm like, dang, she's done this. Yeah, she's done this. She's done this. I'm like checking all the boxes. You're so awesome. That's incredible.
Well, you know what I often tell people is it's also about being older. So,
You've had
it's
time to
hard
check
when
the boxes.
I've had time to check the boxes and I've had time to have overlapping careers that,
Yeah.
kind of dovetail into each other or longer ongoing ones like teaching meditation and yoga for many decades.
I
So,
love that.
some things stop, some things start. Yeah.
But you've still taken the initiative to start something new, because a lot of people can get trapped in the rut of just, this is what I do, this is who I am. And then they look back, they're like, well, that's all I ever did. But you've just kind of been continually, moving that bar forward and adapting as life goes. And I love that.
Yeah. I think too, for me, I'm always wanting to learn something new. So I
Yeah.
think that's been a big impetus for change.
Yeah.
And and also things, as things end, like I don't think I've ever really thought of who I am is what I do. It's always just been what I do is what I do, and who I am is someone bigger than that.
Ooh, I
So
love
I think
that.
that's helped. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So
Yeah.
tell me about, let's go way back to where you started realizing I'm burnout. This isn't working for me. What were you
Oh yeah.
doing? And then what kind of led to that moment where you were like, no, this is not for me anymore.
Yeah. So I had just, it was about 5 years ago. I had just moved to Colorado to work as a consulting coach along with my own business for a British company. And I didn't know anything about Colorado at all, except to have big mountains. So I thought, terrific. I love mountains and I love hiking. And I landed in late February of 2020, which will
Oh,
ring a lot of bells with people right
familiar
now.
story coming.
Yep. Gave one presentation with the CEO, and that was the night that the announcements were, we don't know what this is, but we don't think people should gather in groups. And then the CEO flew back to London. 2 days later was the London shutdown, and the whole thing went like, okay, that's disappeared. We
Oh
can't do
my
this right now.
goodness.
And so I was in this state that I didn't know
Yeah.
and didn't know anyone. And I had moved cross country I was living in North Carolina. So I'd sold my house in North Carolina, was renting a place in Colorado.
Oh my.
And I went, wonder how this is going to go. And then it was the lockdown. So, everything was closed. So people kept saying, oh, well, drive to this town or drive to that town. And I thought, well, all I'm going to see is the buildings because no one's really walking around, right?
Right.
We could in Boulder, we were a little luckier that we were encouraged to be outside, but still, people were very, like, I'm not going to get close to you. I'm not going to talk to you if I don't know
Sure.
you.
So you weren't going to meet a community of people. You were still on your own,
No,
regardless. Yeah.
pretty much. I did meet a very intrepid group of coffee drinkers who
Ah,
we all gathered around this outdoor fire pit at 6:37 in the morning most weekdays, and there were a group of about 8 people. So for the first year in Colorado, we were all standing outside, no matter how cold it was,
because you needed
drinking
that
coffee and
connection. Yeah.
chatting. Yeah, and that was really interesting, and it was a great way to meet people that I never ever would have imagined I would be doing. But what really the impetus for the burnout and for me getting basically ditching everything I own pretty much and leaving the U.S. was, or temporarily leaving, was that after as things started to come back online, my coaching business wasn't doing as well as it had been. And nobody could figure out why. I worked with a couple of great business coaches, literally did everything they said.
Hmm.
And none of us could figure out, like, well, what's this about? Like, it was great for 15 years. Um, and now I'm doing even more, like trying to get the word out, trying to do more marketing and PR, and it's still not coming back. And I realized that I was really disinterested in dealing with individuals. And that was
Mm.
where I was like, oh, right, I'm burnt out. This
Yeah.
is not working. And over the time of COVID, I had written a self-help book, which I don't even like calling it a self-help book because I hate self-help books. It's basically, it's really a book of knowledge and wisdom from an elder, because 60 years old, I figure I can call myself an elder. And it's kind of funny, but it's very practical. So it's a practical, like, here's some things it might be helpful to know in life. So that was where the book came out of. And then, yeah, so at the end of 4 years, my lease, my rental, I had never found a place in Colorado that I wanted to buy. Couldn't get my business back going, and I was really feeling burnt out. And I thought, okay, my lease is ending. I don't know that I want to renew it. I'm going to take a year and I'm going to travel and see what opens up, see who I meet, what adventures I can have. I had saved up enough money to do this because I had sold my house when I moved. And I thought, okay, I just need to create space. And that is both exciting and terrifying.
Sure. From the outside, you can see it. You're like, yes, that's exactly what you need because you can reset and you're just opening yourself up to whatever possibilities. But when it's you, you're like, okay, this is a huge decision that can either like backfire or be amazing. So, I mean, did you have kind of those conflicting moments where you're like, yes, I'm doing this, and then, oh, maybe I should not do this? Like, was it a struggle or were
what
you
I
all in?
I was all in when it. So I was all in from, like, okay, I'm going to sell all this stuff, and it was very interesting, the process of literally selling 95% of everything I own, except for those tax documents we all have to keep for 7 years,
Just carry around
and
for
my
you.
two bicycles, right? Um, but I thought, it was interesting because the more things I saw, I had a bunch of huge yard sales, and the more things I sold, the more things I thought, oh, I don't need this. I was looking around going, why have I kept this? Like, I don't really need this. I don't need that,
Interesting.
you know? And so that part was really easy. When it really hit me that, oh, this is going to be really challenging, was I spent 3 months in Italy. I took Italian lessons because I wanted to be able to have actual conversations while I was there.
Sure.
Um, and when it hit me was about 2 months in, and I realized, oh, I have no idea what's going to be next. And that for me is very uncomfortable. Like, I've
Okay.
always
You're a
I've always
planner.
kind of had an idea. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
maybe not specific, but I've always had, like, oh, I'm going to teach this class, or I'm going to go here, or I'm going to land here, or this is going to lead to X, Y, or Z.
Sure. You've at least had a
And
direction. Yeah.
yeah, or a vague notion. And in this case, I'm sitting in this flat in Florence, and I'm in Italian class 4 hours a day, and I'm doing my homework, and I'm wandering around meetings, trying to meet people. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing after this. I don't know where I'm going to live because I have to leave the EU after 90 days. And my business, I haven't, like, I haven't found the people to network in Florence with. And that was when it was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Um, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to do what I always have done in the past, even when I'm super, super terrified. I just sat every day and wrote, and just wrote. I mean, we can call it, free writing or top of mind or just whatever comes out on the page. And I just wrote and let whatever was in my brain, I just put it out on the page so that I didn't have to carry it around. So that was one thing that really helped. And then the other thing was that I literally said out loud every morning. I stood on this terrace space that I had, and I said out loud, okay, I need the next place I'm going to live to show up, and I need it to show up in 2 weeks because I have to make plans. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
I just stood in the middle of this terrace every morning. I'm sure the Italian people around me were like, "What is that crazy person doing?"
I'm just manifesting
But
my life. Leave me alone.
yeah, and I'm not a follower of like all of the manifestation things, but I thought, okay, my business, the one thing I recognized was my business tanked at the same time that my energy for it tanked. So there's a correlation,
Sure.
whatever, however we want to experience that or however we want to explain it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put this out. Like, I want this a place, the next place has to show up, and I need a clear direction, and it has to be very straightforward because I'm very straightforward and practical. And so within 2 days, the woman who I had become friends with in my Italian class, who's British, said, "Hey, where are you going next?" I said, "I have no clue." She's like, "I think you should come to the UK. I think you'd quite like it." And I thought, well, I've never been. And then she found a place for me to live for 6 months and helped me sort it out. So within 3 days of
Oh
me
my
starting
gosh.
this
You had
practice,
a plan.
it
Yeah.
showed up. Yeah. And I thought, okay, this is really wild. Um, so off I went to the UK to live in Norfolk, which is the east drier side of the UK. And just very gray tip for listeners: do not, unless you love gray weather and rain, do not go to England in December through February. I'd say it's beautiful in the spring.
But
So
you have to
yeah,
get
so I
through the
got
hard
there.
part.
Oh my gosh, it was, I mean, I had a cute little cottage that had been renovated, but I was out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh
And
my
I didn't have a
gosh.
car for the first 2 months. So I was walking 2 miles to the supermarket. And there was a train to the nearest city, which was Norwich, which is a beautiful city. I highly recommend it, very underrated. But it was a real challenge, and it was gray and it was rainy for days on end. So there was a lot of time for introspection and a
Yeah.
lot of time for freaking out and going, what have I done with my life? Like, what am I doing? I'm in a market town of like 1,000 people,
Yeah.
and they're mostly older and they're mostly a little suspicious of newcomers.
Yeah.
And they couldn't quite figure out why I was always wandering around town with a backpack because I was getting groceries every day. But I met a couple great people, and I did the same thing. About 2 months in, I thought, okay, if this is how it's continuing, I can't stay. I have to leave. So I literally, again, this time I did it inside the cottage because it was horrible outside. So every morning I would sit down in front of the wood stove and I'd say, okay, I need a car to show up. I need a car to show up because I had looked and nobody wanted to give me insurance because I was an American, and got
Oh,
very complicated. And I said,
yeah.
okay, I just need a usable car to show up so I can explore and I can meet people and I can go, to Cambridge, to London, wherever. Again, within three or 4 days, the people who own the wine and cheese shop in town loaned me their daughter's learner car, which was like 15 years old,
Yeah.
and just put me on their insurance. So it was like 120
What?
pounds.
Oh
Yeah,
my
for 4 months.
gosh.
So I had a loaner car, beater, stick shift, left hand drive loaner car for 4 months. It was great. I got to do a lot of exploring around, and the woman who had originally helped me find this place, she and I had been doing like a hike every couple weeks on the weekend, so that was great. So I had that, but
Yeah.
now I had a car, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great.
Freedom.
And so it was really, that like there were it all went like there were the really really low spots, and then in those places there's a there are a couple people I've listened to over the years who they all are kind of saying the same thing, which is when you're in those low spots, those are the times that you get to regroup and consolidate your energy so that you have enough energy to move up. And so in those really low spots when I was like, what have I done with my life? Like I took I really remembered that wisdom,
Yeah.
and sat and literally just sat and like, okay, I'm a big proponent of whenever my brain is going too much, or I'm like, what have I done, I just feel really heavy, I'll just write everything out. And that way it's like, okay, it's not in my brain, it's in my journal, it's messy, who cares? And that way I don't have to carry it around in my head, and it stops a lot of the like, okay, what am I doing? Why have I done this? I've
The
blown up my life.
spiral. Yeah.
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 And so then I would just sit or walk, because I'm a big fan of walking meditations. I would just sit or walk, find a, not super rainy path, and I would just walk, and invite, that's the best word, is invite in the answers. And not like I'm thinking about this really hard, I'm going to solve this. It was more like I would walk and I would notice the hedgerows, or the beautiful raindrops on the fields, or a bird or a rabbit or something. I would just notice what was around me, and I trusted that what I needed to know would come. And might come in fits and starts, which it did. But at the end of every walk, so I did this pretty much every day unless it was pouring rain. And then I started to get a better sense of like, oh, okay, so this is what I can do with this downtime. So I took a couple of online classes that I was interested in. I did a writing course in Norwich, which was fantastic. Highly recommend. Met a couple really cool people in that class. Also, I think my writing got better, and slowly, that all those things kind of built up, and I realized, oh, now I have a lot more energy. I'm a lot more interested in exploring these areas or these things, and so it was like that down part had allowed me the time and space to dump everything that was making me feel heavy, that I was worried about or thinking about, and to create some space to invite in, okay, let me invite in, well, what's going to show up next? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think it's really beautiful too, because as someone who, for me, I'm in my head a lot and I struggle a lot with that just constant round and round and round. And it's usually about 2 a.m. where I'm just like, oh my gosh, make it stop. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so just your ability to be able to kind of put it out there and then quiet it down enough to actually hear what you're needing, I think is beautiful. I struggle with that, and I do. So as I'm listening to you, I'm like, gosh, I love that you're able to do that, and I want to work more on that. I usually tell my dogs, instead of writing things
Mm-hmm.
down, I'll sit and just like, dump everything to the dogs, and they kind of look at me like, wow, are you okay? Because this is a lot right now. We've earned a treat
Yeah.
after this. But yeah, I do think that getting it out helps. So I love the idea of writing it down and kind of just purging yourself that way. Um, and then, like you said, just
Yeah.
inviting that space to be there. I love the way you said that. And that inspires me to try to quiet my mind a little bit more. Because I think I'm always trying to work it out instead of stopping and letting it work out. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
solve all the problems, you know, in 1 second.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, and I think that's a very human thing.
yeah,
Two of the practices that I've found are really helpful for myself, but they're also two of the ones I give my clients all the time. Are keep a notebook, or just a blank pad of paper near your bed, and if you wake up in the middle of the night, and most times you don't even need to turn the light on, just write out whatever is in your head, and know that, okay, I've written it. I can look at it in the morning, and then go back to sleep. Often that will help, because your brain is saying, I'm trying to solve this now. And then it's saying, oh, it's the middle of the night. I have to remember this. If I go to
yes.
sleep, I'll forget it. I have to remember this. So if you write it down, and it doesn't, again, you don't have to turn the light on, because most of us can write well
Hmm.
enough that we
Sure.
see it in the morning,
Yeah.
right? So you write it out, and then your brain goes, okay, oh, it's written down. Now I can go back to sleep because I can let it go. So that's one of the benefits of doing that in the middle of the night. I'm also a huge fan of the, walk. Like if you're walking somewhere in a park or a path or something, and you just like you say it to your dogs, which is great. Just say it out loud, just to get it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
The extra benefit to writing it out is that your brain thinks, oh, now I don't have to think about this because I know there's a record of it. So it's an extra little gift to your brain that will help you let go of that, like that repetitive thinking, that spiral thinking.
Yeah.
So
That's
those
I
are
love that.
two tricks. Yeah,
Very
those are
good.
two tricks.
Woo. That's worth its weight in gold, that advice. I'm so excited to like go get my notepad.
Yep, and
So
again, it can be super messy.
yeah, no, life is super messy. So that just goes. But I think it
Yes.
is true that once you have written it, you don't have to think about it because you can always go back to it. So if that triggers something in your brain to let it go, even for just a couple of minutes to get that peace, I just love that so much.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and that's
how,
neuroscience, so because I'm kind of a
yeah,
science geek, so
no,
that's
that's
a
amazing.
neuroscience
And it's
piece.
stuff that I was going to say, like average people don't think about because we don't know the ins and outs of all of that. And you pick up just little tricks along the way, little tiny things. But yeah, because I feel like even when I meditate, and this is going to get us off track, but that's just how my brain is. But even when
No,
I
go for it.
meditate, I really struggle with that quietness. I feel like I have to
Mm,
really like focus like on my breathing or counting or something. I don't haven't gotten to the point in a practice where I can be completely silent inside myself.
okay, so can I give you a tip?
Please do.
You don't have to be completely silent or still when you meditate, ever.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
And you don't have to follow your breath, and you don't have to count. So if you think there are a lot of forms of meditation, and I've been teaching several specific forms for about 30 years. So here's what I've learned.
Okay.
If you think of meditation and as focusing on one thing, that's it. So you can pick a different thing every time you meditate and know that it will change over the course of the meditation. And I always tell people just start with a 4-minute meditation. So let's say I sat down today and I'm like, okay, it's the very first time I've ever meditated in my life. I'm going to simply notice the qualities of my breath, whatever they are. So
Okay.
as I sit, maybe close my eyes. It makes it a little easier if you close your eyes. And I'm setting an alarm for 4 minutes because that's all I'm going to do, 4 minutes. And then I'm just going to sit and I'm going to notice. I'm going to name like, oh, my inhale is warmer than my exhale. My exhale is shorter than my inhale. Huh, I just noticed that my inhale got longer, or I just noticed. So as your breathing changes, you notice it, and you can say it in your own head or you can say it out loud, doesn't matter. And if you find your foot falling asleep, because they do, you can move, right? And so the question you can kind of pop in occasionally is, can I be more comfortable without lying down? Because if you lie down, you tend to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And just know that that is meditating. And as you do that, that maybe the next day you think, oh, I'm gonna notice how my feet feel on the ground for 4 minutes, or I'm going to notice my heartbeat. It gets really cool if you start to do your heartbeat one because you start to get to be able to feel what quadrant your heart
Oh,
is beating
wow.
in. Yeah, and it comes pretty quickly if you do it. But again, meditation, if you think about meditation as, okay, it doesn't have to be still, doesn't have to be silent, doesn't have to be long. I only have to pick one thing for 4 minutes and do my best to keep focusing on that one thing and let it be interesting in the beginning, right? Not just inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, right? It's like, oh, all the qualities of breath, or all the qualities of my heartbeat, or all the qualities of my fingers. And then it will occur naturally that your body and your brain go, oh, we're getting benefit from this. Let's see if we're just going to narrow the focus and know that as your mind drifts off during those 4 minutes, because it always does, mine does too, just bring it back gently and go, okay, what's the next quality? What's the next quality? And that will also, some days it'll go like bing, bing, bing. And other days it'll be like, okay. And then it comes back, right? And then it drifts off a little and then it comes back.
Well, that
And
makes me
I mean,
happy to know it's
yeah.
normal because I
Oh,
was thinking,
completely.
girl, get it together. Like,
Mm-mm,
come on.
mm-mm. Pictures of people sitting on a beautiful beach serenely in, this pose that we all associate with meditation. That doesn't have to happen to meditate at
Love
all.
this. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
You're actually meditating probably perfectly.
Okay, good. Because I'm always like, I cannot be quiet inside here. I'm just like, what is happening?
And it's like tying our shoes, right? If we had learned how to sit quietly for 1 or 2 minutes as kindergartners, it'd be a
Yeah.
lot easier.
No, for sure.
Trying to learn it after 20 is like, oh, it's a whole new skill. Right?
I love that. I'll give myself more grace then.
Thank you.
So
Excellent.
you're in the UK, and
Yes.
then what? Did you continue to start working on your business at that point? Did you kind of feel rejuvenated to come back, or did you want to go a different direction at that point?
So then at that point, so I had done a few online courses because I thought, oh, I could add to what I already know my skill set. And I started to get an inkling of what I wanted to do, but I still wasn't really meeting anyone. And I wasn't very clear on exactly what, but I kept coming back to like, I did a lot of writing about, okay, what makes me, basically, I was telling myself all the things I tell my clients, like, what makes you passionate? What are you excited about? What is not working for you in your current career? And what was really coming up for me was I had been working almost entirely for the last couple years with individuals rather than groups. I hadn't been doing live events and live workshops as I had been in North Carolina. And I missed the group dynamics, the energy of groups, workshops, and I missed the energy of teaching because there is an aspect to a lot of the work I do in workshops and retreats that's teaching. And so I was like, okay, I need to add these things back, and I need to do less of the individual over the phone remote stuff. And so at the end of 6 months, I ended up back in the US. And that was when it became much clearer like, oh, this is the direction I want. And then I kept thinking, well, I really suck at marketing. I'm terrible at it, horrible at it. And I hate it. Probably why I'm
I was going to
terrible.
say that's the key right there. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
love it.
Well, and I've tried. I mean, I've
Yeah.
really tried. I cannot write copy to save my life. I can write books, I can write
Yeah.
lectures, great. Can't write copy. But it became very clear. I was like, okay, I'm back here. I really want to start creating what I had created in the past, mostly in North Carolina, which was with live workshops every week and that energy of people, right? Everyone's very excited. And so I actually contacted a friend of mine in North Carolina who's a fantastic marketer. And I'd known him 8 years. And he's a brilliant writer. And I said, look, I think I need to hire you. He's also really good because he's known me and he knows what I do. And he was like, okay, so tell me the thing you're the best at. And I was like, no one has ever asked me that. They're all like, okay, tell me about your coaching business. Like, how do you introduce? And we all say the same thing, right? It's like, I help X do this without this. Right? It's very
Sure, of
boring
course.
and
Yeah.
very general, and nobody knows what you're doing. And he said, no, no, no. He said, I want to know what's the part of coaching or what's the thing that you're really good at that you love doing. And I said, well, you've known me 8 years. I'm very precise with language. And I love when people learn that how to communicate better. And because that changes everything. When they understand how they're communicating, not only with other people, but how they're communicating with themselves. Right. So like we all do this. I think every human does this at some point. You do something and you're like, oh God, that was stupid. I was like, okay, I just yelled at myself. Right. And if I do that enough, then I cop an attitude. And if I cop an attitude with myself, I'm going to show up with that with other people too. So it's that kind of awareness of how am I showing up in the world? How am I showing up for myself? But it all comes down to what are the words I'm using for myself? What are the words I'm now using for other people? How are they reacting? Right. And he said, great, that's what we're going to do. We're going to create, that's what we're going to focus on. And so I am in the process of refocusing and rebuilding my entire coaching business after 17 years. And I'm so excited about it. I can't tell you.
That's
I didn't think I would be. I thought I'd be
yeah.
like, okay, this is going to be okay. But now I'm like, oh, now I really get to focus on the communication piece, which for me is that's the heart of it. That's my passion. So,
Yeah. Isn't that funny? I mean, it's not funny, haha, but you find that one thing, and the fact that no one had ever asked you that or you hadn't taken the time to think about it. I remember even back when I was in college, well, I had two boys when I went back to college. And one, I think we were in sociology. I don't even remember actually, but the professor said, "What do you do that makes you happy?" And I
Mm.
thought, and he said, "But just for you." Because I was like, "Oh, work with the kids or do this." And he's like, "No, no, no. What do you do that makes you happy?" And I cried because I didn't know. And it was just the easiest question, but it was the hardest question. And it's been what? I don't know, 25 years. I think about him and that question all the time
Mhm.
because you just get on with your life and you don't think about those very basic needs that fill you.
Yeah.
And
And nobody ever asks us that.
no, and you don't ask yourself either because you're just busy doing the things. And you think, I've got this coaching business, it's what I do. It's going great. But then you look at yourself, you're like, actually, is it going great? Or, am I just going through the motions every day? So,
Yeah, and I think too we're really well trained, especially in the U.S. We're really well trained that okay, you find a career path and you follow it, and that's what you do, and you don't question it.
yeah,
And coaching for me is career four. So I started as a university professor teaching photography, and then went into the photo industry, and then into tech, and then I've been teaching yoga and meditation for 30 years, and then became a coach. And so I had some practice in changing,
yeah,
but I think it's still that piece of, oh, I've been coaching and it takes a while. I mean, for me, it took a while to get hit over the head with yeah, I haven't, like, I've been doing this close to 20 years and I'm hitting that point of something needs to change. Like, I've grown in 20 years. So why would I imagine that I ought to be doing exactly the same thing in exactly the same way or similarly than when I started?
yeah,
And I think that's the thing we need to remind ourselves of. Like, it's okay to change
yeah.
even within a job or a career.
Sure. You're not the same person you were when you were 18, thank goodness, right? And then
Yes.
or even
Yeah.
30. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. And I think that what you're where you're getting it so right that's just inspiring me this whole time we're talking is allowing that to be okay within yourself and just really being able to reflect in yourself and seeing that potential to move forward. I think that's just beautiful. You're you're inspiring me. I love just listening to you talk. I could do this for hours. This is
Oh, well, no, I mean, it's great talking to you.
but
You just sparked something with what you said. I think about all the art museums I go to, and I look at, especially when we can go and look at one artist's retrospective, like they'll have a solo show of, this is the early work and this is the later work. And you look, and almost no great artist, I don't think any great artist has ever made the same work for 40 years, right? So if we look at our lives like this is the art we're creating, then why would we expect it not to change? Why wouldn't it develop and grow and go through blue periods like Picasso's blue period, or exuberant periods like Manet, right? Or periods where it's very simple, it becomes, like you look at Monet's water lilies and they're so intricate and there's so much paint and they're huge. And then later on, there was this play with cut paper that were pieces that were so simple and very limited colors. And if our lives are our artwork, then of course, we need to change them.
that's amazing. Yeah. And you wonder, yeah, you could get deep with that because then you could wonder what they were going through and like what caused those changes too. That's so
Yeah,
interesting. So you're back now. Are you in Colorado? Are you in North
I am.
Carolina? Okay,
Nope,
Colorado.
I'm in Colorado until the
Okay.
end of August, and then I'm heading back to Florence, Italy for 3 months.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where I'm going after that, but I'm hoping what I'm really hoping to find this time, because I now the business kind of part is solved, and so what I'm now looking for and inviting in is a place that feels like a permanent home, and I'm not sure where that is, but but I'm sure if I keep standing on a balcony somewhere saying, okay, this is what I need to have show up. Um, it's been interesting because this time around, because I'm much more comfortable, I know the city of Florence much better. I think there's more opportunity for me to meet people, and also to explore more from that point. It's a great city. If you haven't been and you love traveling,
Yeah, it's
it's
beautiful.
a great city to base yourself in because it's small enough to feel safe and comfortable. But the train system, you can get pretty much anywhere you want. So highly recommend that. Um, but I'm feeling like, okay, I've got the work thing down to like it's in process and I feel so excited about it. So now let me put out the okay, I'm looking for a permanent home and starting to define what that looks like. Like for me, it always has to have mountains and hiking trails and nice people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So that
How's your
that
Italian?
will it's okay. It's good enough that I had a conversation with these four Italian guys at the top of a at the end of a hike the other day.
Hey.
They were yeah these I heard Italian behind me and I didn't think. I just turned around and said buongiorno ciao, and then they're like, we didn't expect anyone to speak Italian here. And they're here. They're four young guys who are here for a new tech startup. So we had a 5-minute conversation, which I'm sure I made 100 errors, um, but it was okay. I did,
Yeah, that's
and I
so
keep
brave. I love that.
well, yeah, my theory. I mean, I realize that I'm super goofy. I truly am. And I will be as goofy as I need to in order to either learn something new or to impart something to people. So, like when I was teaching, I was probably one of the goofiest professors most of my undergraduates ever saw. But I was like, I don't care. I just want you all to be as excited about this as I am.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
And
my
that's
general.
infectious. I think when you're not scared to embarrass yourself, so to say, or you just really, are into it, I think other people can let their guard down then and feel more comfortable to embrace who they are as well.
Yeah, I
So,
think there's a lot of power. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. No, no, no. Go
Yeah.
tell me.
I,
Power.
I was going to say, I think there's a lot of power in saying, I don't know. Let's find out together.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really give yourself that chance to see what happens. I mean, rather than trying to have all the answers right there. What would you say to a woman who feels stuck or is scared to make a change? That what advice would you give her when she's feeling
Uh,
that way that you felt?
um, hmm. The first thing I would say is take 3 exhales and know that the inhales will come.
Hmm.
And it sounds really simple, but when we do that, I'm going to give two parts of this because it's if you try it now, notice like as you exhale, you trust that your inhale is going to happen. You don't have to think about it. And so you do that 3 times and it kind of sets the stage through your body, through an experience of, okay, I'm letting go and the thing I need shows up. And 3 exhales is just about as much time as it needs to start to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system in your body that calms everything down. So you start with that, and then your brain goes, okay, now I'm a little calmer. And then I'm a huge fan of writing everything down because then I can look at it and go, oh, wait, where'd that idea come from? So I would say start by simply writing whatever form, bullet point, poetry, illustrations, doesn't matter, long narratives, whatever works for you. But I would say take the 3 exhales. Important that they're exhales because they release. And then sit down and just jot down all the things that are really annoying you about whatever, whether it's relationship or life or career or all of it. Just write until you pretty much have nothing more to say about it for the moment. And then take a bit of time, maybe go get something cool to drink or warm if it's a winter day. And then take a fresh piece of paper and write down the things that really do excite you. And I'm using that word really particularly because it's hard when we're in that feeling of burnout or frustration, or like, oh my God, my life sucks, everything sucks, nothing's working, I can't, right? We all get into that. It's hard in those moments if somebody says, well, what are you passionate about? I'm like, please don't ask me that right now. I can't get to passion, but I can get to what makes me smile, what makes me feel a little lighter, and just start writing those, and know that, leave the pad out or leave your journal out and just write them down as they come, right? So you might get 10 at one time, and then you might be like, I can't think of anything else. So go do the rest of your life for a little while and then come back and be like, oh yeah, right, I thought of this. Like walking to the farm market in Longmont, Colorado on a Saturday morning and getting a cup of coffee from this totally cute couple. I love them. They're so sweet and they wear glitter and they have the best coffee. Like that makes me really happy,
Yeah.
right? So I would write that down. And then when you've got about as many things that make you feel lighter or smile or even happy, right? Then look at both lists again and notice, okay, so the things that aren't working for you, what can you change? Even just a little bit. Write down that, because that's the next step forward. And then as you go, like as you're noticing, oh, right, I have a bit of control over how early I leave for work. Right? You might not have control over what time you have to get to work, but you have control over how early you leave. And sometimes leaving earlier gives you a little breathing space. Right? Or I have control over the fact that I drink 5 cups of coffee. Maybe I want to cut down to 4, right? Simple things like that, they may feel really small, but when you start to notice them and track them, you'll also start to notice the changes that are happening. And the real reason a lot of this works is that as we notice what we are changing, we notice how much control we actually have. When we feel like we have more control of our own life, we take more action towards what we actually want. And so that would be what I would suggest, because that's a place to start. And then
I
if
love that.
you get stuck, you can always call me, because that's what I help with.
I love that so much. So I'm going to, in the description for the show here, link to your book and to your sites. Go ahead and tell people where, first of all, the name of your books. We didn't talk about that all the way through.
That's
Let's
true.
talk about
That's okay.
what your book is and where they can find it, and
Okay.
then where people can follow along with you and reach out if they need to.
Okay. So the book is called No Plaid Suits: How Not to Have a Boring Normal Life. And
Love
you
it.
can find it at Amazon, booksellers.com, probably several other local bookstores if you're around the Boulder, Colorado area. But it's easy to get online. And yes, it comes in ebook form, both for the
Woohoo.
UK and for the US. And it's really a practical guide to things that will be helpful to know in life. For instance, how to do the kind of practice that I mentioned earlier. Like there are a lot of resources in the back of the book, and there's definitely a sense of humor to it. So it's not going to be a dry like, here's what you need to do. If you've heard me talk about this like for the last 5 minutes, you'll get I do have a sense of humor. And then my website is anunstoppablelife.com, which is pretty much how I feel about how life should be.
Yes.
And you can go there. You can book a free chat with me. I'm always happy to talk to people. If you are curious about coaching, if you have no idea if you want to work with a coach, book a chat and we'll just have a conversation. And it doesn't cost anything. I guarantee I'm no pressure, because I hate being pressured, so I don't pressure people. Um, so it's anunstoppablelife.com. There's a ton of free meditations and a lot of blog posts that are really helpful on there. So feel free to dig around there. And yeah, that's pretty much where people can find me. Oh, I'm on Insta. I'm on Facebook. And there's a bit of a blank spot on the Insta for this last year because I've been traveling, but I'm
Yeah.
going to start posting again. So please follow me.
Yeah, you got to
And I
post some
love it when
Florence
people
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, this time now I'm in a better now I'm like, oh, now I know what I want to talk about again because
Yeah.
I didn't honestly I didn't want to post when I didn't feel like I know what I'm talking about or I know what I care about, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so follow the Insta is the same and Unstoppable Life. So is the Facebook page. And yeah, and if you have questions or you're just curious, please reach out. Shoot me an email from the website or book a chat.
Love it so much. I can't wait to follow along and learn more from you. I'm definitely going to go grab that book here as soon as we are done. Because I just love the title. And now that after talking to you, I am obsessed. So I've got to go check this out. So I
I
really
loved your
appreciate.
questions. Oh,
Oh,
sorry. I
thanks.
just
No, I just really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. It was funny because my husband today, he said, I don't even really know what you do on your podcast because I know it's not for me to, he goes, you just like talk to a bunch of different people that you don't even know. And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, well, you always just come out in such a happy mood. And I said, yeah, because I've somehow found these wonderful women from all over who have a totally unique life and a totally unique take. And they all just have something that hits me in a different way that I'm like, yes. And it makes you feel so like not weird, so connected,
Mhm.
and so inspired to like just add a little bit of everybody's life to yours to totally change your whole trajectory. And I love it so much. So I really do love this project and I love the people that I've been able to connect with. And it's so fun for me. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing and being so
Aw,
open.
ha- happy to. I
Yeah.
also I'm in agreement. Like I feel like we really do learn from hearing other people's experiences and knowing that, oh yeah, right, I've had something like that or I've
Yeah.
felt something like that.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring. But also your questions, I mean, there are a lot of things you asked me today that really got me to think about something in a different way. And so I really appreciate that as well, because that kind of communication is really important for humans. So
Oh,
thank you.
that makes me so happy. We're a symbiotic relationship. All right. Well, everyone, go give Amrita a follow, and I will talk to you guys next week. And thank you so much. All right.